Hello, it's me, Charles, again, and in this video, I want to continue with what we have started about time intelligence with SQL. And if you've been to the part 1 and 2, you would see what we are trying to do, trying to see how we can use SQL to do time intelligence computations and calculations. Now, here we're going to do another one. We've done something on annual analysis, monthly analysis. We're going to do something on daily analysis in this video. And so let's just dive right in. I'm going to just create another script. I'm going to create another script, and in this script, I'm going to fire up my Postgre database, and I'm going to select it here. And I'm doing everything about time intelligence here, and double click, and I'm here. So the data we're working with is this one. I'm going to select all from service request. So service request is all about data, call related data that comes in from Dallas. I got it from Cargo. So if you look at it, not Dallas this time, from Auckland, I think, Auckland, yeah. So they are real data set that has been put in there and has to do with request calls that's made coming from different sources, and things like that, the location, those that are open, those that are closed, when it was open, when it was closed, and all of that. So the analysis we've been doing, it's actually to use time intelligence to understand what is happening over time and what intelligence can we pick from it over time. So like today, we're actually going to be taking on the third question I have here. There are many more questions I want to answer, and we've done this previously. We want to actually look at on which day of the week records or requests more frequently created. And we'll also look at, is there a noticeable pattern in daily reporting trends? So we're going to find how to answer those questions. Now, these are questions that are not directly telling you what to do in SQL, no, but they're just open questions that you have to think of, how can I solve this? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through how we can solve this whole thing. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select just columns that I think would help me solve this problem. So I'm going to select the date, date time, initial date time, and I'm going to also select my request ID. Okay, so I'm going to select all of this from service request. I'm going to do that, and let's run it to see we get. So we get exactly that, and just to put it in a way that we can easily read or see it, this is it, and it also runs as long as you don't have a space. So I'm using dbeaver, and in my part 1 I linked to a video that can help you use this, but you can use any SQL application to do this. All you just need to do is import the data and then do the analysis. Import it from a CSV file. All right, so part 1 will help you in all of that. Then you can see here that the data type here is a string. A to Z is a string. So we need to find a way to convert this into a date. You get it? And there's just a simple way in which that can happen. So if you come here, and we use the column, double columns, to indicate that we want to cast it to another data type, and the data type we want to cast it to is date. So if I should run this, you would see that SQL has made it possible for me to convert this to dates. And I'm going to just call this, I'm going to call this as dates. So just dates like that. And this is a request ID. We will leave it because we want to use it to do some kind of counting. You get it? So because of the nature of this question, I need to prepare a table that I can use to answer this question, and that's going to take us to some Windows function, CTEs also, And so if you have been finding a way to understand cities, this is an opportunity for you to understand how it plays out. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, because I definitely need to find out what day of the week is all of this in order for us to carry out our daily analysis, and the next thing I want to do, I want to try to find out what's the average of each of those days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What's the average through each year, so that through all these years I'll be able to tell which day we're likely having more requests coming in. All right, so just like I said, we're going to need the year. So I'm going to come here and just take this one that I have here and up here, but we're going to do something a little different. So I'm going to call this one years, years, and this here, I'm going to use a function in SQL called to char, or whatever way you call it, to char. And we're going to say that this date that we have gotten before, we want to, we want to convert it to some text, and that text is going to be the year. So it's going to pull out whatever it's the year from the date, and then it gives it to me that way. So we're going to have a comma here to separate it from the other columns that are here. So I'm going to just hit this, so you can see that I've got a column that is just for the years. Now this is preparing what we're going to do much later, and for our analysis. So I'm not going to bring in the day yet, because I really want to count how many. So you can see here that for each of these day, this is the 15th day of the 11th month of 2019. You would find out that we got many requests that came in. So what I want to do in this table is to actually find, I want to do some aggregation to count how many requests came in any particular day, and have just one date to house the total number of requests that came in. And to do that, I have to do some aggregations with the request. I'm going to do some aggregation with the request ID. So I'm going to count the request ID as daily. How do we put that? No, I don't want capital letters. Daily request count. Okay, that's fine. Could be anything that you want to use it for. So, but we want to use this to get what's the daily request, what's the count of the daily request that comes in. All right, so now when you do an aggregation, once you have an aggregation in here, you definitely would need to do a group by. You get it? You need to do a group by in it. So here I'm going to do a group by, and we're going to just come down, and we're going to do a group by. So it's two words, group by, and not one word. So I'm going to group by the years that I've, so I want it to be according to years, and I'm going to group by the dates. You get it? So these are different dates. So all of these are going to collapse, and then the count will be given to us somewhere here. So I'm going to group by the year first, and the dates. Okay, dates. All right. So let's see what this gives us, and I'm just going to run it, and it's going to do its thing. And so you can see what it has done here. It has given me a count for each of the days, so that we really do not have a repetition. So I'm going to show you what this really looks like this time around. To make it much clearer, we're going to not a group by now, but we're going to do an order by. Okay, so if you have challenges knowing which should come before which here, I usually just use the alphabetical order. G comes before O, so you just know where to put them. All right, so let's run this one. So I'm going to run this so we can be able to appreciate what the results are. So it starts from the minimum year, which is 2009. And you can see that I now have one date, for June 1st, 2009. So it's not many and all of that. And then we have the counts that we have here. So now I believe that with this data, we can start to look at daily analysis. And this is what I mean. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to make this um, a CT. I'm going to create a common table expression. And creating a common table expression, I just need to use the width, and I'm going to say width TB1. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that with table 1 as, and I'm going to use this query. I'm going to put a bracket at the beginning and closing bracket here. So what am I doing here? What I'm doing here is that I am giving this entire, query an alias as if it were. You get it? That this entire query is like it's a temporary table, not like a temporary. It's a temporary table. It doesn't sit like this in the database, but I want to do analysis based on this table. So that's exactly what this is all about. So I'm going to just have this one here and do some just for readability so that we have this one here. So now let's test it to see if it's working. Let's test if TB1 can replace that query. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come here for space. I'm just going to act like I'm trying to write a comment, and I'll go to my next line and I'll write a query there. So I'm going to do select all from TB1. So I'm going to fire this. I'm going to run it and see if it gives me exactly this. So it's running. And so it's going to give us exactly this. Exactly this is what you see. So it recognizes TB1 as the result of this query that we have here. So now we can start playing with what we have here and to do our analysis. So I'm going to pick the years that I've written before, comma. Now I'm going to pick the dates. Let me just pick it first, dates, and I'm going to pick the daily count. So there's a reason why I would have just used select all with a hashtag, but you're going to see why I am picking just that in a bit. So I'm going to pick the daily request count, okay, and let's just have them like this so that we can easily see them. Okay, so we're going to run this and see what we get. Yes, we're going to get the same thing that we have here, the same thing. But now this is where the changes come in. For dates, I'm not interested in the date as a whole, but I'm interested in the day number of that date. So what I'm trying to say is that, you see, on this first day of June, I want to find what's the day number. So when I say day number, I'm talking about day number like sometimes you have Monday to be 1, Tuesday to be 2, and just like that it runs to the 7th. So that's just the code for the day. That's exactly what I want to do, and still the tool help us to handle that. So I'm going to just say that this dates that is here, that I no longer want it in that format, but I want it in another format. So I could put D like this and close it, and I'm going to call this as a day number. So like in Excel, that's your weekday, your weekday number. Okay, we can just do that. So weekday number. So fine, and we're going to run this and see what it brings out for us. All right, so that should be because I don't have this comma there. Let's run it now. So this is it. So we now have the weekday number that runs through all of them like this. You get it. So we could always do a kind of order, a group, no, order by this time rather. We could do an order by so that you could order by. We don't need a group by here, so it's okay for us to bring this. So we have years and we have years and we have weekday, week underscore day underscore num. Okay, so we have this like this, and if we run this one, you come to see exactly what we're talking about. So you can see now that I have 2019 and I have this many days in it. So that's because we have just a few months in 2009 rather. And so this 2009, these all the ones, this is 2009, all the twos, that is it, and so on like that. But one thing we can tell, is it really one? Is it really two? It's one Sunday, it's one Monday. Now that could be something difficult to fix because it could be different in your systems. You get it. So SQL allows us to use the ID, some ID to ensure that the one is Monday. You get it. So the one will always be Monday, and then Sunday will be 7. So I'm going to just run this one now because of that, you know, of this change that we have brought in here, and then we just have it run, you know, like this. So that's it. So you start seeing something that we can actually do. So we have a lot of ones. So if we get the average of all the ones, we get the average of all the twos and threes through the years and so on like that, the chances are that we might be able to tell, you know, which day of the week tends to give us the most number of requests or records created in the database. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to just come to this daily request count, and we're going to do an average AVG. So we don't spell it that much in Excel, sorry, in SQL. In Excel is just average, but here we just have it as AVG, which is average. All right, so this is going to be AVG of daily counts underscore counts. Yeah, average of daily count. So that could stay without the as, but statutory, I just put the as there. Otherwise, you could actually have the as out of there and with a space, and it would recognize that it's an alias. Now, this is an aggregation. And you remember what I told you, when you have an aggregation, you need something to group it by. So we're going to just go in here and say that we want it to group by, let me just borrow this one here. A little lazy, just want to copy it. And so here, what we're doing, we're going to group by year, and we're going to group by weekday. So it's almost the same thing here. So here, and so weekday. So this, remember, this should not come before the order by, and should be here. Okay, so looks like everything is okay, but let's run it. If there's any errors, we take care. So it's running, and so this is what we have. Good. So in 2019, all the Mondays, this is the average counts that's coming from it. So what we just need to do is to just smoothen out this average count and round them rather. We're going to round this average count, and we're just going to round it this way and run it. And so everything is running. So you can see that I'm using my temporary table to fetch out data to do my analysis. You get it. And this is my analysis that is here. You get it. So now that we are here, so we're saying that in 2009, these are the averages for the weekdays, Mondays to, you know, Sundays, like this. So if I can get the what I want to do now is I'm finding a way to get what is the largest, you know, average request count. you know. So we have this one, so you can see it's 160 that is here all through. You get it. So if you go to 2010, you can see that I have 146, 150. So Tuesday appears to be on the average where we get the highest number. You get it. Now we're looking at it by year here. Other analysis might require you to look at it by quarter. You get it. So hopefully we'll be able to do something on quarters so that you can see how to generate quarters in SQL. So not really a difficult thing, but that's all about time intelligence here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another table. I can't run away from that. At least my knowledge of SQL does not let me run away from that. There might just be, you know, there might just be others who knows how to get out of that. But what we want to do, we want to do a with, and oh, sorry, not a with, because good. So yeah, so we already started with a with here, and we want to create another table under this CT common table expression. So we don't need to write another with. We only need to write the table TB2 as, and it's going to, I'm just going to say it's going to be as whatever it's here. Okay, so whatever is here, I want to have it to be recognized as TB2. Now, because I'm going with another table, so I just need to make that very clear here. Calm down. Yeah, so what I'm doing is that I had a table 1 and I had a table 2 here. Notice that my table 2 is black in font color, but this is just another color. It could be any color in whichever SQL scripting application that you're using. But that tells me that something is wrong. So if you're going to have more than one table like this, so you just need to put a comma here. So a comma changes it and tells you that, okay, I recognize that I have more than one table. So you need a comma to separate all of them except the last table, you know, expression that you may have created. So here we know that this whole thing here gave us this whole thing here, you know. So what we just need to do is to find where do we have the highest number of, you know, counts in each of the days. And I'm going to use another SQL. I'm going to write another query to be able to get just that. So go back. I'm going to use that to create a space so that we can have some room to see what we're doing. So I'm just going to write a query select. I'm going to select this time around. I don't need the year now. I just need the weekday number, and I need all right, I think I need the year. Okay, and I'll tell you why I think I need the year. So I'm going to select all. Select all from TB2, and this should give me exactly the same thing that we have. I'm just going to test it out to see that it gives us exactly the same thing. So it gives us exactly the same thing. I'm going to just put a comma here. So I'm trying to say all of this, put a comma because I want to create another column. So that column is going to be a Windows function. So I'm going to use a max. Why am I using a max? Because I'm trying to find the highest number that is here. You get it. So let's see how it works. I'm going to do this over like this, and I'm going to do it as over, and I'm going to say as max daily count. I'm going to call it max daily count. You get it. Actually, it's max daily count over over the years. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, and let's see how this runs. So what is going to be inside here? What am I going to, or am I looking out for the maximum? So I'm going to take this. Remember that this is an alias in table 2. It's an alias in table 2. That's why you see it here. So I need the maximum of this. I'm going to just plug this inside here and say give me this You get it. And then give me the year. So actually what we need is just this. Let's run this and I will show you what I'm going to add something here, but I just want to show you what is happening, here. And let's run this and see what comes out of it. So I'm going to run this, and it's going to give us an additional column. So this is the additional column that it gives us. This 464 is actually the highest number of counts through all the years. So through all the years from 2019 down to from 2009 and down to 2019, this is what it is. But what I want is, of this 1 to 7, tell me, where do I have what's the highest count in average daily counts? That's what I want. So you're going to give me for 2009, give me for 2010, and so on. Now, to have that happen, I have to carry out a partition by. So inside the over function, you usually will need a partition by to tell it to partition this whole data using whatever parameters you want to use. And this time around, I want to use the years to do that. You get it? So I'm going to run it now. And then we're going to see that our values for maximum daily count is going to change. So you see, it gives us 160 here, and it gives us 150. 150 was for Tuesday here. And when you just go to the other dates, it gives you this for this date, and just like that. That's what it gives us. So why are we doing this? So it's a kind of logic. We're trying to use logic to get what we want, because if we can filter this table and find where this is equal to this, we automatically will be able to pick out the weekdays where we have the maximum number through the years. You get it? So that's exactly what we're trying to that's what we're trying to do. Now I've been using CTs all through here. I could still continue to create a table 3 here. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a subquery here so that we have all of that together here. So I'm going to do is select. So I have this, I have this already here. So I'm going to just come here and do a select. And this time around, I'm going to select just the weekday. You get it? Just the weekday. That's all I need. This weekday now. I'm going to select all of this. Don't mind me. I'm just being lazy. I'm going to select this. So if you've not, I'm going to say from, enter from. And so from where? So I'm going to say it's from this table that I already have. This table that gave us this, everything from here down to here that gave us this. I'm assuming that it's a virtual table. So sometimes when you hear CTEs, and sometimes they say, okay, use CTEs instead of using what do you call it, instead of using subqueries. Well, these are some of those things that they're trying to talk about. So here we're just saying that it should select this from this table. You get it? But in selecting it from that table, what we're telling it to also do is that we want it to select where we want to select where our average daily count is equal to our maximum max daily count. So our average daily count, which we have calculated somewhere here. So that's our max daily count, where our max daily count is equal to our average daily count. So I'm just going to pick it from here so that I don't make a mistake. And so this is what we want. So from this table, we want the weekday, and we want where this is equal to this. We no longer need the years to do any analysis. Let's hope that we're fine with this. And so this is what comes off it. So what it's saying here is that, hey, that you've got ones. So I got one here, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see here that I've got one occurring 6 times. So it means that we've got Monday occurring 6 times as, the highest date in across the years. You get it? So that is what that one is actually telling us off, and actually telling us to do. And all right, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just act like I want to have 2 columns of this. Sorry, that's week. And so we're just going to go down. Let me just have this down here. So I'm going to have another one. You get it? So I'm going to have another one here. Just below it. Same thing is what I'm going to have here. So if I were to, run this one, that is here, it's going to give me, like two columns of the same thing. I'm going to have 2 columns. But what I want to do is I actually want to count this, I'm going to count this as a frequency. As frequency. So I'm going to leave it there as frequency. And because I'm doing that aggregation again, remember, every time you do aggregation, don't forget to do some group by, and we're going to just group by this one. So we're going to group by this one. So right now we're going to run this and see what it gives us. So we're going to just run this, and there it is. So we've got our answer. So these are the weekdays where we usually have very high numbers. So it shows that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are days that we likely are going to have high numbers. But when it comes to the frequency, we see that the Mondays tend to have the highest frequencies. And so we see that there's a pattern actually showing up here, in the sense that at the beginning of the week, we tend to have more requests and therefore more records recorded into the database. And then we have that of Tuesday coming up next, and that one. So it trickles down to something way much lower in the coming days. So to run a CTE at any time, you will need to run the entire. So if we were to just select, we have to select all down the way up here, and then run it, and for it to give us that final answer that we had, to give us this. So you want to take note of that, depending on the SQL scripting application that you use. Some of them will require you to select and be able to get that. But here, as long as I'm within a code block, I can actually just run it, or use the run button here. So I'm using my Control Enter to run it. Otherwise, you could always run it from this point here. You get it? So you can run it, and that's the answer. We get a frequency. We've been able to detect that Mondays are the days where we tend to have a lot of requests being made, and that's going to direct much about strategies for Mondays. For example, the number of persons who might be on seats to take calls, to take requests, or to process them. If we're using applications to process them, then we want to ensure that whatever applications are in place is able to handle the number of requests that comes in on that Monday. It's optimized to be able to do that, and could be used to optimize the operations from start to end because of that knowledge. And that's where data analysis comes in to support decision making. So I guess you have learned something from this video. You've learned 1 or 2 ways in which you can carry out the analysis. This is just part 3, and we're going to have more parts looking at time intelligence. If you found this interesting, why not just subscribe or hit the bell icon, so that you get to be notified when I produce yet more videos on time intelligence with SQL. For now, thank you very much, and we'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.